I wanted to make this demonstration today a little more dynamic with a lot of cool different visuals that I think will kind of really get that point across and explain who MiniMax is. Just can everybody raise their hands who is familiar, who has ever heard of MiniMax as a company and what they do? Okay, wow, so a lot more than Harvard, so I like MIT already. MIT's better, they're MIT go, I don't know if anyone here is from MIT, but yeah, Harvard, like no one rose their hand, and I was like, okay, I got a lot of explaining to do. And so yeah, pretty much what MiniMax is, the kind of theme of this whole thing is your agentic and multimodal partner. So MiniMax's kind of claim to fame is that we provide really high quality models across different multimodalities. So modality just meaning text, video, speech, and even music. And each one of these models in their own respects has made it to the top of AI model companies, whether it be OpenAI, Anthropic. And they've not only made competing models, they've made ones that, because of their innovative architecture and how the technology is built, they're so much more accessible for the average user. They're a lot cheaper. I'm going to show you price comparisons, and I'm also going to show you quality comparisons, so that you're not just using a cheap model to get a cheap product, but you're actually using them. Like anybody can start using these models today and actually make it a really high quality, creative products that you want to just get out there really quickly right now. Probably literally from your phone you can do the same thing. So I'll show you how easy that is. So these are our kind of suite of models that I touched upon yesterday. So we have MiniMax M2.7, which is our LLM, our text model. That is one of the #1 agentic coding models used for vibe coding. I'll show some really cool demos that people can kind of just get a little more visuals for that. We have our music model, really good creating music. This is our video model, which is high-low. Speech, so creating AI voices. MiniMax M2 Her is actually a version of our text model. It's specifically used for companionship applications and apps. So we had a panel here earlier talking about the future of AI companionship and different AI partners and how that might become a very integral part of people's lives. And I really want to raise my hand and talk because my company is behind a lot of these different AI agentic partners, partnership apps, and seeing those come to fruition. Actually, and that kind of leads into here actually, which is really cool. So this is a little explanation of who MiniMax is. I said all our different products, but how MiniMax actually started. It started as kind of an application company. So there's this, what I highlighted here is Talkie. So Talkie is one of the first consumer apps that MiniMax made, and it was just a simple companionship app. So just having an AI avatar that's animated, and you can talk with it. And that scaled all the way up to, I think I have it somewhere here. Here it is, yeah. So for Talkie, that app scaled up to number 11 for top 50 Gen AI mobile apps by active monthly users. So I had 14 million active monthly users. So that's Talkie right there. You can see it at number 11. And then for our video model, which is high-low, it went to number 12 on top AI agentic video web products. And so that was on the 2C side. So, and this is a kind of a cool roadmap that shows you kind of where we started. So you see here, each different section, each row represents where our models and how they progress. And you can kind of see we iterate really quickly. There's a new version of our models coming out every few months, really. If you see a large language model, we went from when I started working with MiniMax, we're at M2, and we're all the way at M2.7 in half a year. And M2.7 has already made it to the top of AI LLM models. And then also with video generation, you see from August of 2024, we had high-low, the first version of high-low 1. And then we're already on version 2 in 2025, and then moving on to 2023 and last of October. And the new version is actually be coming out next week, I think. So this stuff is pretty new. Same thing with audio. We progressed literally from last year of April. That's when it first came out, last year of April. Or the second version, and it's already progressed this many versions, all the way up to 2.8, further than that. And then these are our different apps. So as I said, Talkie, high-low, MiniMax Audio, and so yeah. So that's kind of just different, and so that's kind of a different, just an explanation of our different products. And just going down here, so we're definitely a very international company as well. We have 157 million users all over the world, across, whether it's the 2B or the 2C side, we have a lot of different enterprises and users using our model. And we also had our IPO last January. That was pretty big news. That occurred actually during CES, which is, I have a funny video of, I found that there's a celebrity. He's the Chinese Donald Trump. He's Chinese, but he's a really good Donald Trump impersonator. And I found him, and I had a video with me and him. I should pull it up. So I'm gonna pull it up at the end, so it's kind of funny. It's me and him, just him congratulating us for our IPO. But that was big. That was kind of like an indicator that what we're doing is really, making its way on the market as an independent company that can be publicly traded. And now today our shares have soared over like 100% since that first initial IPO, which is really cool. And so kind of what I was saying before, getting everyone like concrete idea in their heads. Okay, what are these models actually doing? How can I use it today? What does it have to do for me? I think that's what's most important. When you come to an event, you want to see what can you actually do with it. So as I said, M2.7 is one of the best models for AI coding. A lot of developers use it. A lot of people who just like using vibe codes want to get an application out really quickly and not in an expensive way. Who here uses something like Claude Code or any like AI IDE development? Yeah, see a lot of people. So actually, if you use any like AI coding IDEs or any like coding applications, you can use OpenCode, you can use KiloCode, Llama, Klein, really all of these, they actually use MiniMax. Some of them actually use MiniMax as the default model. I think it's somewhere down here. So KiloCode and OpenCode, they use MiniMax as the default model for doing AI, vibe coding or application creation. So you can just go ahead and start using those already to make some cool products. And as I was saying earlier, we are pretty much, if not on par with a lot of the current models out here. So just comparing ourselves with GLM and Kimi 2.5, we pretty much outrank them on a lot of different benchmarks. So if you're not familiar with different benchmarks for LLMs, a lot of them are just testing them on different software engineering tasks for how good they are at solving those tasks, or doing like terminal bench here is for agentic tasks. So how good is that model at making an agent that can effectively use tool calling and know when to use different models together and create different products. So I won't go through those because I want to be a little more visual here. But yeah, these are just different benchmarks that we have showing that we're pretty much, if you look down here as well, a big model that people like to use for agentic coding is Opus 4.6. And so if you can see here, we're pretty much on the same intelligence index as the top tier models of Anthropic, but just at a fraction of the price, really. And then also, as I said yesterday, if anyone who's really interested in using something like OpenClaw, even the OpenClaw founder here, Peter Steinberger, mentioned it as one of the best models for running OpenClaw. So if you're running an agent 24/7, it's inexpensive and it's pretty good quality. So just have been running Claude on MiniMax AI for the past few days, optimized implementation. It's been a really great alternative. Now recommending this over Anthropic. So that was kind of a big move and why a lot of people started using this a lot. So I think I have a cool example here. Yeah, so here's a cool demo. It's just kind of like, let's see here.
The world's first full-stack agent built for complex and long-running tasks. I use Supabase, handle Stripe, run cron jobs, and I self-evolve. A Wall Street founder messaged me, I need a real-time dashboard to track 50 tech stocks. I connected Supabase, built dynamic charts with live price feeds, and shipped it before the market opened. Fast, secure, and investor ready. An indie brand owner needed a bracelet shop, but couldn't afford dev team. I built a fully functional shop and integrated Stripe. List, track, shop, and pay, all in one. A venue manager needed a booking system ASAP. I built it while he slept. Seat blocking and payment, nailed it. Tell me what's on your mind, I'll bring it to life bug-free. I'm Max from MiniMax Agent. You're welcome.
Yeah, so a lot of cool applications that are just used there for innovation. A cool quick little demo here. This was built using KiloCode. Just build a replica of the first Pong game, like the little ping pong game, and just by using that quick prompt there in KiloCode is able to make the Pong game pretty accurately. So if you want to start building, make applications, it's a pretty high quality model to start using. And so as I was saying, the costs, if you go look at right here, M2.7's API pricing is 30 cents per million input token and $1.20 per million output token. When you're comparing that with GLM, which is $1.40 and $4.40, and Kimi, which is half of that, and for Kimi, which is 6.2, it's or 60 cents, and then $3, it's still like so much cheaper. And even more expensive, Opus is like $5 per input token, and then 25 for output. So just so much cheaper all around. I mentioned a little bit yesterday, but the reason why it's so much cheaper is because it's we use a mixture of experts architecture. So whenever you're prompting the model, it's not activating every single parameter in the model, and which, although that can give really good output, we use something called mixture of experts, so the model knows that when a specific task needs certain parameters that are good at being able, or actually know to handle that task, it'll only activate those parameters. So out of a 230 billion model, so it has the breadth of knowledge of a large model, it can activate only those experts that can handle that task. So it has that really good, like, high quality knowledge, but it's able to actually have the ability to do something by having that architecture. So you can build full ranking applications with that, which is super amazing. And just kind of also another great use case for it is just building front ends. So front end design is another huge thing that is super popular with our model. I mean, anyone use any like website building apps like Lovable or anything like that? Anyone use like Lovable or what's the other one? I think Replic's also there, but Base 44, all those different ones. You can actually just start using this right with the MiniMax agent. Just use one of our skills for making pretty high quality front end design, which is really cool. I don't know if anyone here is a front end engineer, but I feel like I would be very nervous if I was a front engineer. Oh yeah, even you can make a 3D video game, which is pretty cool. The 3D version of making the video game is pretty cool. This is all just built with the MiniMax agent, just so we can also do like 3D design and visual video game creation. So yeah, that's one of the use cases. This one is cool. It's like satellite, dodging video game that was created with the agent called Leo Drift. And these are also really easy to use. I don't know if I probably say that way too much, but I emphasize that a lot, but it's just really easy to start creating if you have an idea, want to get that out there. So that's kind of those are a lot of kind of cool features for our coding model. I think kind of everyone got the idea there. I've got a lot I want to show, so I'm just going to go not as fast, but as carefully as I can. And then the next moving on here was speech AI. So I had some people come up to me, I mentioned it yesterday, I was like, okay, well, what are the big uses cases for having a high quality speech AI model? I'm sure everyone's familiar with like 11 Labs and maybe Cartesia, so those main companies that are making AI created voices. But what's the real high problem of making AI generated voices? That one, it's expensive, two, it's really hard to get, like, how do you get the model to be really good at multilingual voice capability, being just having enough speed to actually feel like it's having a natural conversation. Also, another hard problem is having the voice sound like it actually understands your intent, both the emotional and the contextual content, and so those are the key elements of having a really natural conversation when it comes to voice. So I think MiniMax's Speech 2.8 is on the cutting edge of actually getting to that level of really feeling like you're having an interesting conversation, or you're having an agent that actually feels real when it comes to chatting with somebody. So this is kind of a quick little just intro of that.
Mission confirmed. MiniMax online.
We've taken AI-generated speech to a whole new level across languages. Pacing, emphasis, tone. It doesn't just speak, it expresses.
Ooh, shiny. Can I touch it? Just for a second? Please, please, please?
Come closer. I promise. I only bite when asked.
And beyond English, it supports 40 languages with consistent quality ready for global content. Voice style replication on another level. Just upload a sample. We'll match the tone, rhythm, and emotion.
Yo, I'm a YouTuber. You've heard me 1,000 times, but now, here's what I sound like when AI borrows my draw.
Hola, sí. Esa es mi voz original. Now listen. Same voice, new language, same attitude.
I've always wanted to tell stories in my own voice. Now I can with MiniMax.
Accents, age, emotion. It handles them all with precision. So try MiniMax Audio today and hear what's possible.
That was actually an older video. We're actually at speech 2.0.
Sorry, that was an older model. We're actually at speech 2.8. It's a 2.5 right there. So it's improved a lot since then, even from what you've seen there. So these are some cool little demos that kind of get you a feeling of you know, how it's good at multilingual capability, especially with different regional accents. That's kind of a problem that a lot of different agents have been having. Like, especially 11 Labs. Everyone uses 11 Labs, but they find that it's not as great as handling, you know, it got great English voices, but it's not really great when you come to using, you know, other voices or accents, or you needed to switch languages between talking. MiniMax does a great job with that, and I'll show it kind of here.
Hallo, ek is bly om jou te help met ons stemdienste. Kies 'n stem wat met jou resoneer en kom ons begin ons kreatiewe klankjoernaal saam.
So I don't speak Afrikaans, but we test these models with a lot of different people from other regions of the world, and they like it a lot. This is kind of, I like this kind of a demo here because, so this is the text, so it's a TTS model, right? So it's taking the text and it's like having a very intelligent lectern who knows how to have the natural prosody of speaking, of following with the script. And so what's really good, this is an example of this is where our speech 2.8 model comes. Just notice how like the breaths it takes and the little kind of, speaker notes here, which says take a breath, clear throat, laughs, etc. It does a really good job of handling that. Sorry.
Hey, it's me. How are you? I hope you're having an awesome day. We actually had a bit of a crazy launch day yesterday, you know, but I'm just recovered and ready to roll. You're listening to this and probably thinking I'm just chatting into a microphone, right? But here's the twist. I'm actually not human. I am the new Speech 2.8 model from MiniMax. Crazy, right? If you listen closely, you can hear how I handle the pacing, the little breaths, and even that casual vibe. Have a great day.
Yeah, so I think that's what a lot of people like with our voices, that we have something where we can have the expression tags. So as you saw here in the text that we added a chuckle, we added a breath, clearing of the throat, laughs, so that it seems a lot more natural. And a huge use case for these agents is having it is like a voice agent. So, you know, customer service, I was talking about different use cases for the model. You know, customer service, anytime you call any business and you need help immediately, you know, there's so many companies that outsource to call centers and have people doing that manually. And I've worked in this industry a long time, and a lot of time you find is that sometimes when you actually need help, like immediately, and you need to know the services you need, sometimes, you know, it's really great to have a voice agent that knows everything about your services, sounds pretty natural, instead of having press 1 for, you know, this service, press 2 for this service. You've already forgotten what they're saying, and it really is probably, you know, sometimes you get really frustrated, you just want to hang up the phone. But having a really high quality voice agent like MiniMax just really solves problems like that. So this is kind of a cool one just to show our display of like voice agents and also regional accents. This is Singlish, so Singaporean English. We have a big client in Singapore that really likes this model because it gets the feeling of their language and how it mixes English and Singaporean very well. Sorry. Just quick, please.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. Just before we start, I need to let you know this call is recorded for training and quality purposes. Anyway, I can see you're an existing fiber customer. And as a loyal subscriber, we're offering something to help boost your home internet with Wi-Fi mesh. This will give you better Wi-Fi for all your devices. So whether it's your mobile, laptop, smart TV, or gig TV.
Right, so it's pretty good with handling Singlish as a voice agent. Another cool feature here is that language switching. Language switching has been a huge issue with a lot of different voice agents. So the ability to just, in one voice, keep the consistency of that person's voice and then have it cross over to different languages. That is also really hard. A lot of models haven't been able to get down, but MiniMax does a great job of doing that. And I'm just gonna show you here with this quick video.
English. This text is generated by MiniMax's latest text-to-speech model. Notice how seamlessly I can transition between different languages and how natural my accents sound. Japanese. このテキストは MiniMax の最新テキスト読み上げモデルによって生成されています。私が異なる言語間をシームレスに移行できることと、私のアクセントが自然に聞こえることに注目してください。Spanish. Este texto es generado por el último modelo de texto a voz de MiniMax. Fíjate en lo perfectamente que puedo pasar de un idioma a otro.
you're gonna feel how
you can still feel that it's the same speaker, and he's still able to switch between each one, and there's no errors. Sometimes like different models, they'll start speaking one language and they'll switch to another one, or they won't be able to handle those transitions. But the MiniMax model does a really good job of doing that. It also understands kind of emotional quality too. So like if you add having a sarcastic voice, this is actually an example between 11 Labs and MiniMax's. So you can just kind of get a feel of that. Sorry. Yeah.
I am absolutely heartbroken. This is the worst day of my life.
So that was generated by 11 Labs via that prompt, and it just added some random music, and it sounds a little bit flat, but using MiniMax's.
I am absolutely heartbroken. This is the worst day of my life.
Yeah, and MiniMax has a little bit more of that, natural prosody going up and down, and it doesn't have any, weird hallucinations as much as the other one does. Also, realizing voice cases, professional voice cloning. Let me see a good one. And even we, we're good at doing voice cloning. So this is a voice clone of Donald Trump's voice.
Let me tell you something, nobody understands MiniMax better than me. This thing is a beautiful, powerful company. Probably the greatest company ever, really. It's smarter than building walls, and I build great walls, the best walls.
Yeah, they got a real crack out of that one. Yeah, exact same thing. And also educational use cases are pretty good.
Today, we're going to talk about the word pain. In English, pain means physical or emotional suffering. For example, you might say, I have a pain in my leg sore. The news caused her a lot of pain. However, in French, pain means something completely different. It means bread. So if you want to say, I have a pain in my leg in French, you would say, j'ai une douleur à la jambe. On the other...
Yeah, so that's kind of an example of for a language learning app, just being able to switch between two languages, it's pretty good there. And let's see, also a good one I really liked here. Oh yeah, so I was just saying kind of inbound and outbound kind of scenarios. So inbound, if you're having a voice agent calling you, and how you would respond to that.
Hey, MiniMax support, this is Mia. What can I help you with?
I think I got my RPN. Can you just put it lock now?
Okay, yeah. Rate limit stuff. Don't worry, we'll sort this out. What's your group ID?
Okay, let me check. Well, my group ID is... Wait, where can I find it?
Okay, so I'm a little bit low on time, but so yeah, I had a lot more I want to show, but anyways, I'm just going to do one more thing to kind of get anyone a good idea. I actually had a question, so also, that's all the different models. If you want to come find me about anything else, but just one more thing I want to show everyone that I think is pretty cool. So I actually had a question yesterday if for our music model, if you can have it speak with your own, sing with your own voice. And recently we had one of our music model MiniMax covers, so you can input any song, and then you can have it switch the genre of the song. So you can literally input Adele's song, Someone Like You, and have it become a hard rock version, or an R&B version, or a jazz version. So here's Adele's song, something like this, in rock. I'll just play a 2-second thing of it. It's a hard rock version of Adele's song. By just inputting that audio prompt, you can get a different, output a different genre. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, so I wish I had more time, but that's kind of my time for today. I still have a lot more I want to show. So if you're interested in learning about our video models, speech models, anything text, you can come find me. I have more demos I can show you guys, something you're interested in. Also free credits for our video models. If you want to come, you can find me for those. But yeah, thanks everyone. I hope you learned something and it was interesting.